Nothing in this podcast is intended as investment advice, and the people in this podcast may hold positions in the stocks they talk about. Do not buy any investment based solely on a tip or recommendation. Please do your own research.
Hello and welcome to the Midweek Takeaway. Today we're joined by Alex Stanbury, Chief Executive Officer of Technology Minerals. Welcome again. It's not been that long, Alex. How's things going?
Yeah, hi Phil. Thanks. Yeah, very good to be here. No, things are going really well, thank you. We've had a really good few days, building on our success and building on our previous announcement. So yeah, we're in a good place.
So obviously, the last time we talked, there was obviously the talk of the MOU regarding the 10% interest in the US cobalt copper properties for around, well, it's 900,000. So you've actually finally completed that sale. Now, that was obviously it was pretty quick, really, from the MOU to the final completion. Do you want to tell us how significant that is for Technology Minerals in terms of their assets?
Yeah, it was a quick process, and we're extremely pleased to have it finalised and get the announcement out and get the money in the bank. It's really absolutely critical for us. It shows and validates our business model. We are, as you know, an incubator for battery metals projects on the exploration side. And the key to that is being able to have strategic assets and bring in partners and monetize them. And that's exactly what we've done. We've now done a deal on 2 of our 6 assets and brought in £900,000 worth of cash for only 10% of that asset. And we've got 4 other assets which are being looked at by mid-tiers. And, you know, we hope to do similar deals on all of those as well in the short order. So we've shored up the coffers of the company and really onwards and upwards.
So as you say, you've got that 10% taken of the 2. And there are other sort of, as you say, mid-tier companies looking at those 4. Just how far away do you feel you are about engaging the interests of those potential, the larger companies that obviously need this? We've already talked about how much in demand cobalts, lithiums, all these minerals that are needed for EV and the greenification of the world. How far do you feel you are away from the next deal coming in for one of your assets?
I think it should be fairly short term. We've got a site visit going on this weekend with a very reputable large mid-tier company who have got the wherewithal to take this to the next stage. They like what we've got. And we did a site visit last week on the Irish lithium project as well. And we're expecting terms imminently. So we expect to be able to see and announce something in relatively short order and get further cash in on this side of the business.
And obviously, we talked to Robin, I think it was about a week ago, regarding the EA that was approved at the Tipton site. And obviously, there's potential that was the lead aspect of the business. And you've got the lithium ion side of things to come. Again, how far away do you feel from getting the EA on that next site?
We're in constant communication, and we feel that again is really just around the corner now. All the right noises are being made by the EA, and we expect to be able to get that. I'd say within the next couple of weeks, but there isn't. The timelines aren't being told to us. But from our experience, we'd say it's pretty short.
Alex, great news today. Obviously, £900,000 in cash in a business is fantastic, especially under the current situation and in terms of the markets and the way they are. Seems a bit strange that your stock price was maybe 5.5p or higher at one point, waiting for this environmental study so that the lead acid battery plant could go ahead. Now it's all in order. Lead acid battery plant is going to go into production in the next number of weeks, I think, rather than months, and produce you considerable ongoing revenue. So are you a bit surprised at what's happened to the share price?
I am, yeah. I mean, it's fairly inexplicable, to be honest. I think this is what the market's been waiting for. It's what we've been waiting for. As I say, it's hard to put timelines on things with the EA, but then when our big license comes through, the permitting of the site, everything else waterfalls underneath it. And so, revenue is in sight now. And although we had an initial uptick in the stock, it really hasn't reacted in the way that we'd like it to. So we do feel there's definitely an undervaluation going on here. And also, obviously, the MOU went out, and I think that sort of piqued people's interests. And now that we've actually converted that and done the deal, hopefully people will see that this is kind of the proof is in the pudding and the cash is in the bank. So we can move forward and hopefully the share price will react positively on the back of it.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, this puts a sort of a price tag in the ground to say that the overall project is worth at least £9 million sterling, or those two projects. So, are you expecting similar valuations on your other projects, or are some of them bigger and some of them smaller?
Yeah, some of them are bigger, some of them are smaller, but Spain is right up there, and it's a key project to us. And the Irish lithium project also is a really, really nice looking project. So we're expecting good valuations on those. We believe in all of our assets; they're all strategic, and these assets become more strategic by the day, as we discussed on the sort of supply demand side of the critical materials. So every day that goes by, the shortages get larger, and I think you're going to be more mining companies out there that are desperate for decent assets, and we hold them. So we're excited.
From just an overview, looking at it, it looks to me that the valuation of the company at the minute is easily covered by the assets, the mining assets that you have, and now with this revenue coming on, and you're waiting for the lithium-ion battery plant to start. And again, I think people need to understand as well, as you explained to us the last time, that this is sort of a 2-a-year rollout in terms of factories. So it's not, these guys have got 2 factories and a bit of land, isn't that great? No, this is going to be something that is going to continually grow, because there is only 5% of the world's lithium-ion batteries being revamped and reused. So, how much demand do you think there's going to be for this? Because I don't think there's going to be enough of these plants to cover this.
No, I agree with you. And it's very much in our business model, and our business model is extremely cash generative. So we don't need to continually raise money. The recycling plants throw off enough cash that we can roll out 2 plants a year from existing cash flow, which is really critical for ourselves and obviously for shareholders as well from a dilution perspective. And I think that the first point you made is absolutely key as well, which is one of the sum of the parts. If you look at our share price and our market cap at the moment, and sort of divide up the mining assets and the value of recyclers, it simply doesn't add up. Recyclers is undervalued here, as are our mining assets, and selling 10% of our Idaho assets for $900,000, which values them, as you say, at $9 million, really does put a stamp in on them, and show that if you extrapolate that across our mining assets, and look at the sum of the parts as well, and look at the numbers coming out of recyclers, we are trading at a massive discount to that.
Yeah, which maybe isn't that unusual just at this moment in time in the market. But the interesting thing I see about you guys and Teck Minerals in general is that the potential for this to be many magnitudes bigger, and I'm talking about in terms of factories and production, is not necessarily there in a lot of the other companies. But you guys really can, exponentially grow in terms of revenue production. I mean, it is mind-boggling when you actually do the calculations.
We can. We've got strategic rollout plans in place for both the UK and for Europe. So, and as I said, the cash generation side makes it self-funding. So, we're super happy with the way it's going, and very confident that we can achieve that and achieve that for shareholders as well in the near term.
I think the interesting thing for me that really piques my interest in the company is the fact that you've got the assets in the ground. That you're effectively, like, think of it as a junior exploration company with your 6 assets in the mining, the mining sector, resource sector. And then you've got the recycling element of it, which is much needed. So effectively, you've got like the in the ground resource element of things, and then you've got the actual the byproducts and the recycling, the end of life products that need to be recycled and then reprocessed. There's not many companies that have that kind of like the initial input and then the output element of things. Do you know what I mean? Like it seems like a bit of a unicorn in that space.
It is indeed. There aren't many companies doing this, and we are the first UK listed company to be doing it on a kind of a circular economy and cradle to grave for battery metals. And it's going to be increasingly so, all about control of these metals in the market, and especially in the UK. We're an island again post Brexit, and it's really important to be having control of both the input and the output of these metals. And the fight for them is going to become more and more intense.
So if you had a message to potential investors right now in this market where demand is so high for EV metals, lithium, cobalts, nickel sulfides, graphite. What would it be? How would you sell yourself and your company right now in this market?
Well, this is definitely the space to be in. I mean, you only need to look at the forecast for supply and demand over the next 5 years, look at the number of battery manufacturing plants being built, and look at the raw material shortage to see that something's got to give. And is really going to become extremely problematic for the OEMs and for the battery manufacturers down the line. And when the OEMs run into trouble actually producing their cars, already you're waiting 12 months for a car now because of the chip problem and then the geopolitical situation, that problem could get an awful lot worse. So we expect the OEMs' focus to shift to trying to secure the raw materials themselves. You can already see that they're putting money into the mining companies themselves. So I'd say that we're extremely well positioned on both sides of the spectrum here. Firstly, from the extractive and strategic point of view of those mining assets, and then on the recycling side again, which is control of the metals at end of life. And there aren't many companies out there that can make that claim. So I'd say, we're a pretty good place to look for that.
So moving forward a few years or even months, with the specialised, as you say, first mover advantage in the UK, and we know that the likes of Tesla are getting in bed with mining companies, etc., because they have to plan ahead, right? Everybody has to have a future plan. We know these metals are in deficit. How do you envisage maybe in the future working with some of these larger companies like the Teslas, the Nikolais of this industry?
Absolutely. Without doubt, they all have a problem, and the problem is twofold. It's firstly, they don't have enough raw materials to feed the front end, and secondly, they all have, certainly the likes of Tesla, they obviously have battery packs at the end of life that need recycling, and they want to then hold on to the raw materials at the end of that as well because of their value. So again, we can provide both sides of that, which is all about security in the battery metals space. So yeah, I think that's without doubt we'll end up working with the likes of the large OEMs. So
there's a potential to give them the ability to have the factories, and you still make an income from those factories.
Yes, we can co-locate and we can recycle purely for them and batch for them. Or yeah, absolutely. And we are in discussions with various OEMs on that basis as well.
Okay, well, great news today, and let's hope the market gets it and starts to translate that into the share price. And we look forward to speaking to you in the near future.
Alex Stanbury, CEO of Technology Minerals. Thanks very much for your time.
Thank you. Look forward to it again to you.
This podcast was brought to you by Roast PR Limited. If you would like to appear on a future episode of The Sunday Roast, please email admin@thesundayroast.net.